You have a New York Yankees jersey on right now. I'm curious to see if you had a chance to digest the new Jay-Z album that just recently came out.
All right, so
444.
Yeah, 444 is dope. But that's two-parted, right? So the reason I'm wearing the New York jersey is because I'm a fan of Bernie Williams.
Okay.
And Mitchell and Ness, shout out to them, but they have like a deal with like the Castle Island outlet. If we stop into the Philly flagship store, we can get some love.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
No, it ain't free love, but it's love. So I went in there and I went berserk, man. I bought all the teams and players that I really like. I want to go back. I want to get some more stuff. So that's why I have on the New York jersey.
Even though you're from Seattle.
Yeah, even though I'm from Seattle. Plus, I feel like anybody who's a true fan of like Seattle baseball has to appreciate the Mariners, the Yankees anyway, because the Mariners are almost like a farm team for them. As far as like our Ichiro going there, like they take all of our best players, Alex Rodriguez. It's like, oh, if the Mariners have a star, we'll bring him in over here, mid-level. So if you follow players from Seattle, you follow players from New York. Good point. I didn't even
think of that, but that's a different perspective from where you're from than what I would see. So
yeah, I just follow the players. As far as 444, I thought it was dope. I was actually let down a little bit.
Wow.
Only in one aspect, though.
Explain.
So, we cuss on here, right?
Sure.
Okay, so this album is clearly for black people. This is not even made in the audible tunes that niggas accept as jamming. Okay? And Jay-Z basically stepped back into the game, grabbed the mic and said, for all my black eccentrics and my real music lovers, my backpackers, my hip-hop heads, feast on this. Niggas are left out. There's not a club banger on that bitch. There's nothing you can smash your bitch to. It's just clean the house, get ready for finals, study, practice, memorize the script type music, which is dope. You know what I'm saying? It makes you have to get into a space and enter his world and be reflective while you listen to the music. But that's just different from what albums have been that I would call classics. Like there is stuff that's reflective and deep and things that they share that you wouldn't have gotten because they aren't interviewing. But there's also like maybe track 7 is a slapper or track 11 is something you can go raw in your bitch to. But this was just, it was deep.
Was there a certain lyric that stood out to you?
Yeah, OJ saying he not a nigga. I was like, okay, for a couple reasons. One, I saw the biography on OJ where he really did feel like that. And then secondly, it showed me that Hov had an awareness. I thought, sometimes you see people get rich or they become eccentric. They make a transition and they step away from popular culture. But Hov still has his thumb on the pulse. So I was appreciative of that he reflected on. It means he saw the same thing I saw. It means both our eyes were watching that OJ biography at some point. So I thought that was dope.
Favorite song off the project?
That's actually the song I like the most, the OJ joint.
What do you think about this? Somebody kind of gave me this perspective about Jay-Z, and it makes sense, but I want to see what your thought is. Recently, with his albums that he's been dropping, he's always been the person to kind of halt on a trend or say, I'm done with the trend. Like, if you look back in his albums, he had a song called Change Clothes when everybody was wearing throwback jerseys. Crazy hard. Then he dropped an album with the song Death of Auto-Tune. He was the first person to stand up to T-Pain in the auto-tune movement. And
man, I ain't had no problem with it. And honestly, he didn't dead it. If anything, he cheapened it.
Well, they definitely took a punch to their sale.
Well, I'm saying like this, like
it definitely curbed the momentum.
For sure. But I'm saying it changed the momentum. Like at one point there was like, if somebody was doing auto-tune, they were doing it a certain way. Like there's a professionalism to it. Like T-Pain is an incredible artist. You can watch him singing on a TED Talk, no auto-tune, still killing in an office space. I'm a fan of T-Pain, right? And I feel like he took such a dent from that like, it's almost like, man, he's grinding again. He's not on the same cruise control that he was set trajectory. He had a trajectory so ridiculous. He had what, like 5 #1 songs in 2 months? It was crazy. So now, the survivors of the death to auto-tune that are still auto-tuning are kind of the dudes that are like, man, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on auto-tune, you can't tell me shit. They don't give a fuck about how it should be done, how a song should be structured, making great music. And so Now, mind you, there's some dudes at the top of the game auto-tuning. I'm not knocking them because I feel like they're still paying homage and respect to how it's really supposed to be done. But like when I host the music showcase in Hollywood, right? It's on Wednesday nights, and dudes come in there and they're virtually talentless, and then they open up a little briefcase, pull out the auto-tune mic, and now they feel comfortable with performing. And that's the part I don't like. As a stand-up and somebody who's true to the craft, and not being able to edit and having to take what you say right then on the spot, and that's what it is, and hopefully it creates the emotion you're looking for, I can't vouch for somebody who has a crutch like that.
Now on this album, Jay-Z was, talked a lot of the similarities between the rappers now. He was talking about everybody's got the same watch in terms of jewelry, so we all look the same. He also made references about people that hold a bunch of money to their ear and talking to it, and he basically kind of just, I don't know if he's going to change these trends again, but the trajectory on what he's been doing on recent albums is he's one that, says, hey, I'm done with this trend, and then the trend kind of makes a curve and goes away. That's
the trend. The trend is to say, let me steer my people in a positive direction, or let me steer them in another direction. Sometimes it's not even positive or negative. It's just more so a financial situation. Like when he fell out with, I think it was Cristal. Now we ain't supposed to drink Cristal. It's on several songs. Even on this one, he got a line. It's not even a verse. It's just an ad lib. He said, I'd be crazy if I drink something else and Puff got Ciroc. So now everybody got to go get Ciroc.
It's
and
crazy.
I don't mind that that's his vantage point to say, hey, we need to support black business. We need to keep the money in our community. We need to stop. You know what I mean? I don't mind that. I don't mind that he in his own personal life has had an evolution, and he wants our people to have the same evolution. I don't mind that.
Now, what are your thoughts? Well, I'll ask another question before we even get there. Okay, so as far
I'm going to add this, though.
Go ahead.
The reason why I don't mind that is because I see other artists, by comparison, doing similar plugs, and it's not benefiting our culture. It's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to knock the big homie, but like Wingstop. There's a certain rapper that says Wingstop a lot, lemon pepper wings, and how many of them are talking about Molly and Percocet? That's pushing that. We buy what we hear. We associate with what we associate with, And so I can appreciate Hov using his vantage point in the game and his power for not personal gain, the gain of the culture.